Okay, guys, I did a video a while ago about Rich Piana's version of the keto diet. It's a diet he's going to be using the day after Valentine's Day for 6 weeks to get really lean. So I basically just explained what he said and what my thoughts were. And one of the things that I mentioned was that he uses, pasteurized egg whites, and specifically said don't use real eggs because drinking them raw is going to kill you because it's salmonella. He didn't say it's going to kill you, but he did say you'll get salmonella. Actually had a hard time pronouncing salmonella, so his girlfriend had to do it for him. But the bottom line is, he said, you should use, pasteurized egg whites or his egg protein powder instead of using raw eggs. And one of the things that I thought was so funny is, he's used literally every single substance on the face of the earth. He shot everything into his body. His big thing is whatever it takes. And when he was trying to do actual bodybuilding contests, he would take whatever it takes. He said specifically, like, if this guy's taking like ABC, I take, ABC, DEF, because whatever it takes, I want to get better than him. So I thought it was funny that, a guy who shoots as many toxic substances as possible, and you name it, he's done it. This guy is going to go ahead and say, don't drink raw eggs because you might get a tummy ache, and, poo green stuff. So, like, wow, that's crazy. Anyway, I got a comment on that where somebody said he drinks the egg whites raw, bottled stuff is pasteurized. I read egg whites can only be absorbed if pasteurized, and you could get salmonella. Okay, so let me go ahead and talk about this again. This comment is coming from a couple different angles. Okay, one angle is salmonella. Okay, let me just knock that out real quick. I've knocked that out before in other videos. Salmonella is rare. Number one. Okay, salmonella is rare. Number two, if salmonella does come in, if you do have an egg with salmonella, it's probably going to be on the shell on the outside. So, if you wash your eggs before you crack them open, which I don't, but if you do, wash them off maybe with like, dish soap or whatever, you'll be fine. Okay, another thing is salmonella comes really from eggs when they're like all packed together in an industrial quote farm situation. So if you get like free range or organic eggs, it's much less like very, very, very unlikely that you're going to get salmonella on an egg. Okay, and let's say that you do have salmonella and it gets into your body, you get sick. You produce green feces and you get a tummy ache, and that's it. Now, yeah, I know people say that they just suffered for like a day or two. It's basically like a form of food poisoning. Who hasn't had, some gastric problems, some digestive system problems because they ate something, crazy, okay, and they just got sick, okay? And the healthier you are, the less likely it is to happen. I think I may have had salmonella before because, like, there were times when I just had a little bit of a cramp and, some weird stuff was going on in the bathroom. And it's like, hey, whatever. It's like, I'm pretty healthy, so like a day or two later, I'm fine. And it wasn't even that bad while it happened, okay? And I also specifically said that, Rich Piana has enough money. Just his lifestyle, he has enough money to drink the best organic, free-range, salmonella-free eggs on the face of the universe. So there's no way that he should be worried about that. And like I said, he's willing to shoot in. He takes thyroid drugs, to lose fat, human growth hormone, insulin-like growth factor, insulin he's shot before, every steroid known to man. Basically, he did Adderall because he wanted to concentrate better on his t-shirt business. He's done like everything on the face of the universe. And then he comes out here and says, don't drink raw eggs because you might get a tummy ache. That's what I was really kind of joking about. So those are the thoughts about salmonella. Now let's continue a little bit about the other thing. The person says, I read egg whites can only be absorbed if pasteurized. There are a couple other things about eggs that I really don't even talk about, okay? One of them that wasn't mentioned in this comment is, what is it, biotin or whatever. If you drink raw eggs, it basically is supposed to, cause a deficiency in your body. Well, the thing is this, there's a difference between reducing something and a deficiency. So the court is still out on this whole, raw eggs will cause deficiencies, because it's like, if it suppresses something a teeny bit, is that really something to worry about? Like I said, so that, and people don't even really talk about that very much anymore. The other thing that this person did, however, mention in the comment is the concept that you cannot absorb the protein in eggs unless they're cooked, okay? First of all, what the person in the comments said is you can't absorb the protein unless they're pasteurized, which is not exactly the same thing. Pasteurization is basically just for salmonella, okay? A lot of people say that drinking raw egg whites, whether they're pasteurized or not, you're still not going to get the same protein as if the eggs are cooked. So pasteurized egg whites are no better than raw egg whites in terms of protein absorption, okay? Now let's continue on with this whole protein absorption thing. That is also something where the court's really out, okay? Everybody on the face of the universe has at some point in his life drunk either raw eggs or pasteurized egg whites from a bottle, okay? Rich Piana himself said when he was getting big, he would make shakes like 6 a day where he would pour what would he pour? He'd pour like oatmeal, a banana, pasteurized egg white liquid, and maybe some water in some blender and just drink it down. He would do that several times a day, okay? The same thing with Timberwolf. He's a guy, he's pretty well known in Instagram. He's got a YouTube channel. He did a YouTube video a while ago. Do you consider drinking, because if you need more protein in your diet, he does if it fits your macros coaching. If you need more protein in your diet, can you just go ahead and drink liquid egg whites? And would it be considered like a 1-to-1 ratio? If you drink 50 grams of protein from liquid egg whites, is it really 50 or is it more like 30, 40, 25 grams of protein? And he didn't even have a definite answer for that, okay? So the fact of the matter is, everybody does it, okay? And Timberwolf is in awesome shape. Rich Piana got huge. Steroids or no, the fact of the matter is, if he could not absorb, when he was doing this, when he was drinking his liquid egg whites to get big, okay? He said he would have like 6 shakes a day and 2 real meals a day. And the only protein coming from those shakes was liquid egg whites. So if he's drinking liquid egg whites uncooked and, pasteurized but uncooked, and he's not getting the protein, he would basically effectively be only eating 2 meals a day. That would not be enough protein for me, much less somebody, who's working out as much and who's on as much stuff as Rich Piana was back in the day when he did this, okay? And the best way to explain this whole thing, if you can get the protein out of raw, eggs or pasteurized but uncooked egg whites, is something that I read in a forum like months ago when I was researching this a little bit. One guy put it really well. He said he used to drink egg whites, or raw eggs or whatever, and, he heard about this, and he went ahead and started cooking his eggs. And then he's like, but now that he thinks about it, he never really noticed a difference, okay? So basically, this guy is, drinking raw eggs all the time, and then he starts cooking raw eggs all the time. If he was not able to absorb the protein from the raw eggs, when he started cooking them, he should be getting a lot more protein and should notice a difference in his workouts and his nutrition, but he didn't, okay? So that's what I have to say about salmonella. That's what I have to say about biotin or whatever, deficiency. That's what I have to say about the absorption of uncooked eggs or egg whites. And let me just add something else. If you are Rich Piana is doing something, it's kind of similar almost to my pure protein diet. Very high protein, very low carbs, moderate fat. If you're going to go on a real keto diet, real steak and eggs diet, hormone precursor diet, anything like that, you need to get a lot of fat. So drinking raw egg whites or pasteurized egg whites as opposed to whole eggs, you're not going to get the same number of calories. You're not going to get the same amount of fat, the same amount of cholesterol, which is all good stuff if you're on a low-carb diet, that you would if you had the whole egg. So, like I said, I'm not saying you have to go ahead and drink your eggs raw. What I am saying is, if you are going to drink your eggs raw, drink your eggs raw. Don't separate the yolks from the whites, and don't just drink egg white powder, egg white from a bottle, because, like I said, what's going to happen is you're just going to get protein. It's going to be fewer calories, and it's going to be a lot less fat, which you need on a diet like this.